Well, I did it. I built a galaxy ceiling inside my temple. Welcome on in, everybody. My name is Linkzzey, and welcome to my 49,000 day hardcore Minecraft world. And as you guys have already seen, I am hard at work at the galaxy right here in the center of the build. And today I want to take on this back centerpiece. I want to start building up these walls over here, start building up over there, and I would love to start closing it in. That way we can start the exterior of the entire build. I've got a really cool palette in mind, and I can't wait to get this roof in place. Not to mention, I absolutely love the color palette of what we got going on the interior here. This wall turned out absolutely fantastic, and I think that the galaxy is just so incredible, especially with shaders. And I even got myself my own Linkzzey patented item frame organizer over here. Cobble deep slate, not looking so good, but at least got a little bit of dark oak to start the day. And we will have to expand the void out in this direction, and of course in this direction as well. And I actually managed to fully run out of basalt despite digging out this entire area underneath the nether bedrock roof. Yeah, that's millions of blocks. So I set myself up a little basalt quarry. Only downside is as I have to deal with these stupid magma cubes, but I do find the occasional ancient debris from time to time. I guess what I'm trying to say is that we got to start today's time lapse with a little bit of a grind lapse because I need resources. So let's get to it. Have I ever mentioned how much I love the new happy gas? Because as I'm building up all these walls over here, I find myself going back and forth with the happy gas and not having to use a ton of scaffolds, which is saving me probably 25% of my efficiency. Meaning if it wasn't for all of the resources I keep running out of, I would probably be working on the exterior of this build probably within the next couple days, realistically. So we might actually be getting to the outside of this build in today's episode. It's actually looking a lot like that. As of right now, I have been able to kind of bleed on out on both sides. So I've got the hallway kicking all the way out there. I have the hallway going all the way out there. I'm not going to stress too much about the glass. I think I'm going to kind of do the glass periodically, like every now and again, but I'm not going to grind my way through it. Then I'm going to be capping it off over here, making like a giant wall with like a door. Same thing goes on that side, and the same thing goes on this side. And then once I have this place fully enclosed, I'm now officially going to be working on the exterior of the build, which I think I kind of want to start things off at the very top. So I think I'm going to be working my way up from the very top and going all the way down, but probably going to be starting right here of the bulk of the roof, which I know is a little bit of an unconventional way of building up buildings, but I am freehanding. The roof is incredibly important. Obviously, connecting everything on up together is also incredibly important. So in my brain, it makes sense to work from here down and then work from here up and meet within the middle. But I just wanted to get that off my chest, that I am fully in love with the happy gasp, just because I have done this for so many years, 12 years of freehanding, no Lightmatica, doing all that fun stuff. And this guy has changed my life. As a bit of a side note, check out this floor with shaders on. Oh my God. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It just kind of just goes down into the depths there. And I think that is such a spectacular view. I changed up a couple of my settings with the shaders, and everything is looking absolutely incredible in here. I can't wait for this thing to fully enclose. And just like that, we have fully enclosed the entire interior here, and I love the way that everything turned out. This bridge in particular, this was actually just kind of like on a whim. I noticed after placing in all of the smokers with the trapdoors and everything going all the way around that I messed up. These smokers weren't the same Y level of these smokers over here, and I was under the impression that they were. I was actually going to extend this entire void floor out that way and out that way, but we're going to call this one a happy little accident, because if that never happened, I would have never come up with the bridge effect right here, and this build would look very different from, well, what I intended originally. As you guys can see, I haven't finished up any of the glass down below. That's going to be a continuous work in progress, but what I have started is, of course, the roof, because you guys already saw the time lapse for a little bit of the roof right here. It took me a little bit of time to come up with the palette, but I am in absolute love with the way that this is looking so far. The color combinations, utilizing the darker colors to kind of show a little bit of wear, I think looks absolutely incredible. I'm going to be going with a lot of light gray tones as well for the exterior here, and I think it's really going to complement the palette that I've chosen for the roof. So, I get asked this all the time. How do I choose the palettes? Well, let me go a little bit over environmental building and stuff like that. So, let's take this tower right on over here, for example. You can tell that there's been a little bit of like water retention. So down near the towers here, this is a little bit more wet, and it kind of slowly dries out as you get further away from the tower. That's just like a shading effect and adds a little like level of depth. Also, I'm kind of like imagining my sun being right here and looking at the build. So I've added some highlights right here that would be exposed to the sun. And as we work our way slowly down, and this tower right here kind of casts a little bit more of a shadow, you can kind of see exactly what I'm talking about. So right on over here, just a little bit more shadowing because of that tower. A little bit of a highlight at the very end there, because maybe that catches a little bit more sun. Maybe this would have a little bit more of a highlight, because if the sun is up over there, that would catch a little bit more sun. So maybe we'll brighten that up a little bit. And then this whole thing right here, just kind of darker in that little corner, little bit less dark right up in that corner, darker underneath the towers there. And then I've just kind of wanted to blend everything together. So that's pretty much how I came up with the texturing for this entire build. Just kind of going off of the environment. And of course, I made myself a little sky platform so I can make sure that the composition is looking really good. I've had to figure out a little bit more of the roof a little bit. I didn't actually know what I was doing there in the middle, so I had to figure that out. I had to extend this whole area out. I added a bunch of dormers, some spikes, a little bit of hourglasses. A lot of these things are subject to change, obviously, because I am freehanding, and this is the first time I've ever built the interior and then worked on the exterior afterwards. So far, I'm really enjoying it. And something else that I'm really enjoying is all of the updates with the copper golem. I'm thinking for this platform in the future, I'm going to replace all these things with chests. I'm going to have like maybe a copper golem on this side, a copper golem on this side, and they're going to help me stay organized throughout these projects. And out of curiosity, are you guys as excited for the copper golem as I am? And are you guys planning to do something similar to what I'm going to do? Or do you guys have different plans? Let me know in the comments down below. But on one more little side note, I just wanted to show you guys this perspective from over here, because this is probably going to be where the kingdom is going to lie. I'm probably going to build up a bunch of villagers' houses in the future. I'm going to build a bridge going across. I'm going to build something other extravagant building going on over there. That's going to be about wisdom. So I don't know how that's going to show up. I'm going to build a bridge going all the way across here. We're going to have wheat fields. We're going to have all the medieval stuff. And we're going to be looking up at that build right there. But now that we know exactly what we're kind of doing here, let's build up these towers along here, and let's build up this entire roof line going all the way across, and let's figure out how we're going to hide this dome along the way. Well, that roof line is carried all the way through the entire build now. I've kind of fully enclosed bits and pieces of the rooftop here, and I've started to play around with some different colored stained glass for the exterior of the build, and I'm loving it. As for that dome, the dome is still right here. I obviously do need to still continue on with putting in windows on the bottom a little bit, but I really do have to address this weird dome here pretty soon. And of course, on the inside of the dome, I really don't have a whole lot of wiggle room to play around with because I got the galaxy there. So now that we got the majority of the roof in place, I think I'm just going to continue on and avoid that dome there for a little bit. I'm going to start figuring out exactly where the foundation is going to start. And I'm going to build up the door. I'm going to build up the centerpiece right there. I'm going to figure out exactly where the buttresses are going to be going. And I need to figure out what's going on with these back pillars on over here. So yeah, there's still quite a bit to do, but resources are holding up just fine. I've got plenty of glass to do all the stained glass stuff. I've got a lot of pale oak wood, and I've got a lot of puff to work on the next section of the palace. And I'm not sure if it's going to be possible, but I'm going to try to finish this build before 50,000 days. And hopefully the world map will be done by then too. And of course, just like I redid my entire Masa, I'm fully redoing all of the islands as well. And that's something you're definitely not going to want to miss out on. Now, I did tell you guys the outside was going to be the exact opposite as the inside, and I think I've pretty much did that. Love this glass right here. Remember, our fake sun is going to be right over here, casting a shadow onto the build itself. So I've tried to accommodate for all of that along the way. So a little bit of green that goes into the cyan, that goes into a light blue on the way down, just for a little bit of a natural shadow. And I think it looks absolutely fantastic. I've started incorporating little bits and pieces of green, just seeing how they would incorporate into the palette, and I think it's going to do just fine. And for those of you guys who are wondering, because I know I'm going to get comments on this, how am I going to hide everything below the leaves? Well, I'm actually going to work the foundation into the mountain, almost looking like it's eroded on away. And I think that's going to give it a little bit more of a not so placed on top of the mountain, but more a part of the mountain kind of vibes. I've got the front facade kind of going here. I'm working out the towers right now. So, oh, yeah, I'm gonna fall to my death, and we're back. So the front tower's up here. I have a lot to work in here. I haven't really done anything. I've been messing around with a few little details with the iron bars, using walls, using slabs, but I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing. But once I do figure out exactly what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be doing this tower. What is that? 4 more times? Yeah, 4 more times. That way I'm able to do the whole side of the building right over here, right in behind me, all the way across here. I'm going to have all the towers coming in here. I'm going to have the buttresses in behind the towers holding up this wall as a little bit of a support column. Going to add another little additional depth. This entire rooftop over here obviously needs to be textured, but I'm not going to do that until I get the towers in place because I don't want to get ahead of myself, because maybe at the end of the day, that won't really be worth it. Once that side wall is now done, we will then move our attention over to this back wall right here, which honestly shouldn't be very hard because it's going to be a lot of these towers back here. So for the most part, figuring out this front facade right here, this whole thing, has been the hard part. Once I got this completed, I just rinse and repeat and I make it all come together in the end. But there are a couple little additional things that I do need to hide. So this wall right in behind here, I also have to figure out these dormers, and that these walls back here are severely lacking detail, and not to mention the dome that I'm kind of avoiding that guy. But quickly, I want to address the environment around here. So this is the Temple of Time right here. And as you guys can see, there is a very good, strong river network that goes throughout these entire plains. And over time, I just want to make these a lot more prominent. I want to keep the river networks the way they are, maybe creating water wheels, windmills, fields, and everything like that. I think we can really work with this entire landmass for the kingdom. And behind the Temple of Time, or right beside the Temple of Time, actually, we're going to be building a bridge going all the way across. We'll be carrying on this river straight through the bridge, like right underneath there. We'll be opening up this section right here into that section, and I'll be probably widening out this river all the way out to the ocean right here, and maybe we'll have like a little Robin Hood bandit camp over there. And then right over here where all these trees are, I'll probably end up getting rid of all those trees and expanding the kingdom over time. So that's the plan for the overhead view. As we walk up to the actual temple itself, I think it blends beautifully into the background, which is exactly why I did go with the stone in the end. I think that the stone really goes well with the sky. And as I have the kingdom right on over here, it's going to be more of the backdrop of the entire kingdom, and it won't be so imposing being up on that mountain over there. I also added fresh animations back into the world. I'm going to see how this goes. Every single time I add fresh animations, I don't know if I 100% like it. Look at the little mouth on that guy, huh? But the pigs are really awesome. I love the animals. I think it adds just ever so slightly a little bit more life to the world. Kind of freshens it up, if you will. And it's something I'm really big fan of, but a lot of the time my FPS really tanks when I use it. But so far, I think it's been doing pretty well. I still need to add a door to the build, which obviously these are just trap doors for now, but that's okay. The interior obviously done. There's a lot of moving parts in this build. Let me see if I can fly up in here. Perfect. I will be adding the clerics into the trading hall pretty soon. I'm not looking forward to having to craft up 100 brewing stands. I need a way better blaze farm, so stay tuned for that. Of course, we got a lot done with the interior. I think we're pretty much polished up here. There are a couple additional things that I'm going to be adding in the interior, but I want to make that wait till a little bit later. But unfortunately, I think that's all the time that we're going to have in today's episode. So hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. If you guys enjoyed today's episode, consider subscribing and leaving a like on the episode, because I do put quite a bit of work over on these episodes, especially over on the Twitch side of things, which is where I freehand every single one of these builds. No Lightmatica, no creative planning, just a guy and some blocks. And yeah, Next video will probably be the 50,000 day milestone video, so stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss it, like I said. But until then, I hope you guys all have yourself a wonderful day. Maybe I'll see you guys over in the live streams, and have yourself a good night. And I'll see you guys in the next one.